All right, we had one of these on our review. So if you took that review home, not only did you get 10 extra points, but you got to practice one almost exactly like this. 2 carpenters are building a fence. After 5 minutes, one carpenter is finished 1/8 of the way, and the other is finished 3/16 of the way. How much more fence do they have left to build? What does how much more and have left tell you to do? Right, you have to subtract. If you don't write the word subtract here, you did not correct your problem. You have to write that word. What are we going to subtract? Well, I have the word 2 carpenters, 5 minutes. One carpenter finished 1/8, the other finished 3/16. This one and this one are numbers just to confuse you. 3 extra numbers. Did they trick you? If they did, you need to slow down and think about what the story is telling you. Am I subtracting 1/8 and 3/16? So we need to, they need a fence built, and they've already finished some. So we're going to subtract everything they need minus what they finished. How many fences are they building? One fence, right? So this is one fence minus however many they have finished. They have 1/8 finished, and they have 3/16 finished. So how much did they finish altogether? Our first rule for adding fractions is to write a common denominator. This is where we make some of our mistakes. So this might be your sentence, depending on your work. I have 8 and 16. What could be my common denominator? 16, right? Well, how do I get to 16? Times 2. If you did not change this 1 into a 2, you already got it wrong. Don't forget that numerator. So now I have one fence, and they've finished 5/16 of the fence. So how much do they have left? If your brain is getting upset, I want you to think of this. They have this fence, right? And they have 16 pieces of it. All right, 16 pieces of it. Yes, you have to draw the picture if you want credit. 5/16 is finished. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many 16ths is left? So that's 11. 11 what? 11/16, right? 5/16 is done. You've got 11/16 left. All right, number 8 says the table below shows how much weight a puppy gained each month for 5 months. If a puppy is gaining weight, is that a positive or a negative? Positive. What is the total amount that the puppy gained in 5 months? Total tells you to Add. Yes, you must write the word add. You will not get points if you don't write everything I write. So you've got to add all these fractions up. There's a bunch of ways you could do it. If it were me, I would add the common denominators up first, and then I would add them all together. Or you can change them all to common denominators right away. I see 2 common denominators here. So I'm going to add those 2 up first. 2 and 1/2 plus 1 and 1/2. Because I don't have to mess with it. Common denominator is done. I'm going to write it vertically. Going to add it up. Now, if the same number is on top and bottom, that means it's equal to what? 1. So those 2 fractions together equal 1 whole, or I guess 4, equal exactly 4. I have 1 and 1/3. That doesn't do me any good. I have 1 and 3/4 and 2 and 1/4. So let's add those up. 2 and 1/4 plus 1 and 3/4. Common denominator is done. So I'm going to write it vertically. My denominator is the same. 1 plus 3 is 4. 2 plus 1 is 3. 4 over 4 is the same thing as 1, right? So I have 3 and 1. So I have 4. So I have 4 and 4. And my last fraction is 1 and 1/3 all by itself. So I'm going to add 4 plus 4 and get 8. And then I'm going to add 8 plus 1 and 1/3. Write it vertically, and you have your answer. Nothing plus 1/3 is 1/3. 8 plus 1 is 9. If you used a common denominator, you had to use 12, at least 12, and then you had to simplify. You got the same exact answer, but I went ahead and grouped mine by denominators, and I didn't have to mess with anything at all. So if you didn't add, or you didn't find a common denominator, or you didn't turn your whole numbers into your improper fractions into whole numbers, any of those could be reasons you got it wrong.